Well, greetings YouTube. We have today a Hoover or a Vax, depending on what country you're in. So as always, please give our video a thumbs up. And if you like what we do, definitely go share us with your friends and family on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Those links are all below the video. And let's get started on this review of this very strange GE Roll Easy. I mean, Hoover, it looks like a GE Roll Easy. And it is fashioned after a GE Roll Easy. So, I'm going to kind of spare you the unboxing video. You can watch that up with the link below. So we're just going to talk about the review and how this thing works in my house. And we're going to clean house a little bit later with it as well. So I just want to show you what it comes with. And like its overall size and shape, because it is bizarro. So from what I can tell, these things originally did sell for about $300. I picked mine up off a discount for, I think it was about 25 bucks. Apparently some people got these for 10 bucks. TTI, who owns Hoover, runs a discount website, and they were on that website, Tools Direct or something like that. And occasionally their stuff just gets cleared out through there. And I think they were trying to do some end of the year inventory management by giving them away. So that's how I got mine. And of course our Patreon supporters paid for it. So I want to thank everybody who supports us on Patreon. Just $5, $10 helps us out so much with the channel, with all the little administrative costs, and allows us to bring new products to you. So I have set this here next to another TTI product, and I think I'm going to have to do a Roybal review because we got this lime green Roybal. You can tell they definitely reused the pellets. But I just kind of want to show you the size and shape of this next to a regular canister. And we're going to just pull the hose off for now and set that to the side. Just kind of want to show you the size and shape versus a normal canister. Give you an idea. So very, very strange. Now, as I'll show a little bit later, if you're not familiar, the idea behind this is, there's a carrying handle there. You can set this on its side. And I hate to say use it like a central vac because it has a super short hose, but you can use it in one place. Or it will follow you around and it can flip-flop on either side. Doesn't matter. There are wheels in both places. So the first thing I want to talk about is bin size, because that's kind of the white elephant in the room. And the bin does just eject out there, and I think that's super cool. Again, I'd recommend this for a collector. This is not probably something you want to clean your house with on a regular basis. So, sorry for the bad camera work here. This is the bin. This is the other bin. And it's not super hollow in the middle, but you can see they're about the same width. Very close to. And the full line. Let's see if we can get the full line on camera here. But the full line is basically this part right here. And it's on its side, so it's awkwardly full, and there is a rubber intake. And my experience with these rubber intakes is if big objects or they get overfilled, they can clog up, as they do on the Dyson stick vacs. And the other thing is it does break down easily for service. So if it did need to be washed or something, that's nice. And we have here something borrowed from the Maytag days, that Cyclone Shape. Almost kind of doesn't have a Maytag feel, but it does in a way. So it has the Maytag. It was a bad idea and it was a big flop sort of way, but it's clearly TTI execution on all this. So again, we're just going to show just kind of how small this is in comparison to its sibling over here. Now, I can't do a test on the sibling right now. The reason that we're not going to do any tests with its sibling is its sibling basically lives to suck up beads. ceramic beads, as you can see in here, and those pretty much have fucked up this whole cleaner, and that's why you're not going to see a video anytime soon about that. So enough of that for comparison. Let's get back to the error result. And mine came to me with a small scratch on it, which was kind of sad because I got it brand new in the box. So the way this goes in is you have to line this and this up. And again, I know this seems basic, but when you look at this, these appear to be the same size. You really have to study this from the side to get this right. In fact, I think the best thing that you could do, if you own one of these, is do yourself a favor and put a small red mark on there, just like so, and that way you can tell which way the bin goes in. We have great lighting in this shop, but if you don't have great lighting, like in some rooms in my house, it's just a nightmare to try and see which way that goes. And again, that is spring-loaded, so that's kind of unnecessary. So as we get into the rest of this, you have a cord rewinder and you have a Hepa filter, but you can't get to the Hepa filter, so that's kind of disappointing. Maybe we'll take that apart and see if we can't just get to the Hepa filter for you. So I've removed our screws, and there's these latches holding it in place. So I actually smacked myself in the face with this. So I got the Roll Easy wheel, which appears to just have a slick plastic rather than a bearing, and then of course the rubber coating. So that's a little bit different. So in the heart of this, here is the Hepa filter, here's the motor. And the screws appear to be captive in this, so that was kind of strange. So we're going to just pull this off. Don't try this at home, kids. This voids your warranty, I'm sure. And there's our Hepa filter. And we can see that the Hepa filter has a nice exhaust to it, and we have access to the motor, so we can I'm not really sure I should be picking that up. I don't know. The motor and the cord reel all seem to come out as one piece. So it's solid, doesn't move in there. I can tell you, it looks like a YDK motor in there. There's some more shroud. Again, I don't want to really have to pull this part any further, but I want to show you how you change the Hepa filter. And I will put the part numbers for the filters below, even though you can't get to the TTI doesn't make them, so I don't think you can get them right now, but we'll put them on. And hopefully one day somebody finds a bunch of these filters for sale, maybe even on eBay. For those of you who don't know, Hoover does liquidate stuff on eBay as well. So I would go and follow the Hoover's official eBay seller account as well. Alright, so that's on there. We're just going to hand torque that. Had my screwdriver off in the grinding room. I just want to make sure that that's, yeah. With the kind of plastic this is made out of, it's real like polystyrene, or something like that. Even though the Hitachi is very good at torquing and stopping, I prefer to just tighten it by hand because these things can be touching. And again, this is a brand new vacuum. I don't really want to mess it up. Alright, so the handle, I can see where the clips go. Alright, so this clip actually lines up with a little mark in here. It's really hard to see again. Not my usual to give it a little squeeze. with my number 6. So it's on there nice and solid. Ooh. Heard that when I turned that. That was... There's the click. So these are self-tapping plastic screws, and that's pretty normal. But because it's going into what appears to be some sort of clear acrylic, it doesn't seem like it's Lexan to me. And that is kind of concern. So we're just going to tighten these by hand. So that's how you get to the Hepa filter. That's a pretty big negative right there. Really complicated to get to the Hepa filter. Alright, so that's how we get to the Hepa filter. For those of you who don't know, I use PB Swiss screwdrivers, which are the best of the best, made in Switzerland. Like this, which is made in China, just like my wife. That's not really a joke. You'll hear me say that a lot. But my wife is from China, so I often refer to that. Though my wife is better made than this is, that's for sure. But all joking aside, let's test the suction and let's just look at the information. So this is a 2015. So we've got about 28 inches of water left. It had about 30 when I first took it out of the box, and you saw how clean the filter was when I took the Cyclone out. So this machine loses its efficiency very, very fast. So some things I like is the handle is relatively comfortable. Hoover later would go to like this handle that was really uncomfortable, and this actually fits my big monkey hands quite well. Now, right here, you do have a suction bleed off valve, something I haven't seen in a Hoover for a very, very long time. Your on off is right there, your brush roller control is there. And again, the hose is very short and has a single swivel right here. Now, even though the hose is short, this is pretty bulky. I'm going to give you a rather nice long crevice tool, so give you an idea just how big the crevice tool is. And there's nowhere to store the tools on board. So that's kind of strange. They give you a dust brush, and this locks in. Doesn't swivel, so that's kind of not too useful. And then they give you this strange upholstery tool. So we're going to try this later on my stairs. And then I saw, if you haven't seen my Baziek's video with this is the strangest one of them all. It's like a Squeegee Tool, which could be a pet hair pickup tool, but we're definitely not sucking up water with this. And this one doesn't lock in. It's got a notch, but it doesn't lock in, so that's what's very strange. And they give you a really nice bare floor tool. This is the same sort of bare floor tool that a lot of central vacs have. Taconi gave these on their high-end vacuums. Miele used a tool similar to this at one point in time, so this was really a nice tool. It's kind of chintzy plastic, but it's a nice tool, nice natural bristles. So that's a real bonus. Now on to the power head. And the parking of the power head, and this is true for a lot of vacuums, but a lot of times the parking, when they're just clamped on, they have to be adjusted. So I went ahead and adjusted this one, and now it parks so it touches the floor. So that's the parking there. I keep hitting that on and off switch. I should unplug that, I suppose. You have a nice telescoping wand. It's a little on the short side, but you have a telescoping wand. Sorry. I know it probably seems like I'm being rougher than I am because this table it echoes in here, so it's kind of exaggerated. Everything has a plastic tip there, so plastic, metal. Kind of strange design, but I kind of like it. So the next question that we all are going to have, yes, we can directly connect the nozzle and use it for stairs. And moving to the nozzle, because this is the subject of my curiosity, is what is in the nozzle. So let's take a closer look at the nozzle and see what she hides in there. First of all, you get a big sign that says to remove, use a screwdriver. It's got nice arrows pointing to that. And I can see the circuit board. I can also inspect the wires in the neck, so I actually like that. In terms of service, I can also inspect the motor. If the motor, you know, blew out, became black, I would be able to visually see that, I guess. So that's a false not that you can get parts for this, which is kind of the downfall. And sure is teeter-tottering a lot. We are going to put this on here. As many of you know, I don't just do vacuum cleaners, so we're at my shop right now, and I've been working on some other projects, so I don't have the carpet down like I usually do in a lot of my videos. So again, it sounds louder than it is. I apologize for that. So let's try and pull this off now. We have... Oh. So that's just on there, tight as a whistle. It's good and tight. Nice, it's good and tight. Give it some persuasion right here. Oh. Well, that certainly was on there. This is really on there. That is the tightest base plate I've ever removed. And so it's got this nice rubber bumper around here, which is kind of a premium feature. Not saying this is a premium vacuum, but and then it's got kind of a rubber material on the wheels. So the brush roller, if you've seen a Hoover Air, that's exactly what this looks like. It's got some weight to it. It does have a metal core. I don't know if it's going to tear up my carpet or not. I think not, though. Oh, we do have ball bearings. Those kind of look like Kirby bearings in there. Those are nice. But this is bound to get chewed up and mauled. And then we have our lifetime belt, of course, in here as well. And then you can see stuff is gathered under this. So I think the best way to clean that up, as always, is with another vacuum. And my central vacuum. Don't want to lose that. Well, let's put her back together. Now that I've cleaned her up a little bit. I suppose I could pull the brush stuff off the brush roller first. Kind of doing this in the reverse order. I'm actually going to do a small house cleaning video, or maybe a room clean with this. Let's put that on there. And these aren't eccentric, they're symmetrical, so that's kind of nice. We're going to put this back together. And I'm going to have to find the wheel here in a second. Put that back together. This, I think we'll probably hand start that as well. Again, when you're working with plastic, and these are self-tapping screws, if that will focus, so they'll cut and tap. So you want to really make sure you get the threads lined up Otherwise, they'll just kind of strip a round hole. That would be no good. So that's all in. Now I can just torque them down. And let's find this wheel real quick. Well, it took me about 10 minutes, but I found the wheel. Rolled away kind of to the dark corner of my shop. But there's the wheel. And when your wheels rub like that, I believe the best solution that I have found has always been a little bit of tri-flow. And it's even kosher. I'm just going to put, even though it's new, I do this with Mila as well, believe it or not, when I take one out of the box, because until that plastic wears in, they squeak. So that eliminates that. So let's go vacuum with it. Well, we're going to test the maneuverability in this room. I'm also going to do a whole room vacuum in here because this is the room we're in the least. And usually it's closed during the day from the animals. So I suspect there'll be the least amount of pet hair and overall stuff to pick up. So hopefully we won't fill the small bin too fast. But we're going to find out. Right away you can see the short hose might have been intentional so that you can maneuver this. Now that we've vacuumed this room, for the most part, I didn't do a super detailed job, but I'm curious to see how much stuff is in here. Man, that's awkward. So, actually not too much. Now I usually keep this pretty clean. See, it's mostly carpet fuzz in here. Not too bad. Let's check the filter. You can see some stuff there, and then this other filter. Ooh, it's pretty fluffy. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna vacuum another room with this. So let's talk maneuverability. And that's my problem with it, is it bumps into things and it really gets stuck. In fact, I would be surprised if I haven't left a few marks around my house. So, maneuverability, not so good. The idea of this machine has of being able to flip itself and work either way with the wheels is kind of a cool concept. I don't know if anybody remembers BattleBots. Used to have something like that in a TV show. But yeah, maneuverability could be better. I'm going to attempt to maneuver it around my coffee table in my living room and see if it's possible. As you can see, it's a little wide. I suppose I could move my coffee table, but it's a little wide. Now the other thing I just noticed upon using it, it seems to have developed some sort of tick or sound to it. So let's zoom out a little bit here. There's nothing in the brush roller wrapped around, I can tell. Let's turn it on, let you listen to it. Sounds fine there. Definitely hear it there. So because there's no pile adjustment, this is the same guy they used on the Oric Venture and used it on a couple other vacuums, as I've mentioned. Because there's no pile adjustment, and it's a pretty, bare bones. Let's make it as inexpensive as possible. You can hear the dog in the background. It's already starting to get that sound to it. So I suspect I'll have to make a warranty claim, which will be interesting. Well, as expected, the cord is really, really short. So I barely get into my hallway before I run out of cord. So even with a compact Mila, we found out that the cord would actually reach all the way to my bedroom door there. And it's just really, really short. Again, for the price I got this for, I can't complain. But damn, if I paid $300 for this, I would be rather upset about that. Well, let's focus on stair cleaning and how you can do that with this. Now, if you're like me and you're tall, what you're going to do is you're just going to set this like so. Do not set it like that because, well, that would be bad. Fall down the stairs. So, set it on its side. It balances nicely. You can see there's plenty of room. And see the head is pretty narrow. Fits on there. And the other thing, way we can do this. There. So we're going to use this and we're going to see how this does. say this is the most awkward upholstery tool I think I've ever used. And it not being able to swivel. I think Hoover would have been done better if they had just made this rubber. But there's a reason this was kind of a flop. We can see that some stuff got stuck to the lint pickers. Vacuum does not have enough power really to pull it off the lint pickers. So that is the stair compatibility with the Hoover. Now, in an attempt to be fair to that tool that I didn't like on the stairs, I'm going to try it just as an upholstery tool on my couch. So I might try this as well. We'll see how that works. I like the size of it. Again, a lot of stuff got stuck to the litter pickers, which is what they're for, but they're doesn't seem to be able to vacuum it off, which is something I'm used to doing with an Electrolux or a Miele or something. Other thing knows, there's some sharp edges here. Might have to take a little bit of sandpaper of that just to round them off. So let's try. Yeah, there's no sharp edges on this. Let's try this, just out of curiosity. See if that's... Actually, so I think that is a pet hair tool for like upholstery on there. I think that's more what that's designed for, rather than floor pickup. So we're going to test bare floor pickup. As usual, we have pet hair, flour, some breakfast cereal, and some cat litter. We're going to try it first with the nozzle with the power brush off. One thing I noticed right away, some of the flour got stuck to the rubber wheel. Oh, yeah, we got some debris stuck in there on the cross members, but actually did alright for the price of this machine. Let's try it with the bare floor tool. And now the bare floor tool. And again, you have to hold this just right, which if you're 6 feet plus tall is going to be an issue. I'm about 6'3", and this is, well, just to illustrate the, yeah, that's where I have to hold it. So that is about a little bit below my knee. But let's see how it picks up. Well, that did a lot better with the bare floor tool. It's not anything unusual. Really, I think I missed some breakfast cereal, and that's about it. Picked up all the fine stuff, the cat litter. So, I suspect the notches that are cut out on this, this camera will zoom. It will zoom. I suspect that is what's causing that. Again, not being able to pass through there. But that did pretty well. Let's check the carpet cleaning ability of this machine now. So, actually, I think that did pretty good. Really questioned the finer stuff in the carpet, but it looks like everything I put down, it seems to have picked up, which is a good sign. It's like the bottom side of the nozzle. It's actually pretty clean. I see why they chose this nozzle though for the Oric canisters that had this. It is a pretty good little cheap nozzle. It's quite quick, dirty, and effective. I guess it's quick, clean, and effective. So the one other test that I think that needs to be done now is we need to test how much efficiency we've lost. Now that I did a whole house vacuum, and I realized it kind of screwed up, as I probably should have waited a day or two. I did a whole house vacuum right after I did a vacuum with my central vac, so that was kind of maybe something I shouldn't have done as well, but oh well, I did it. Putting this adapter on here, there we go, barely squeezes on. Again, this is its own funky size, so let's see what it did, and I'll show you the stuff in there. So we're gonna just see what the efficiency was. So we're down to about 25 now on the meter. Maybe 24, a little bit less. So in terms of efficiency, now let's see real quick in here. You have to excuse me, I'm a one-man show here. Let's see what the efficiency was. And I think it was IBCX pointed out kind of how bad this was in his video on this. So IBCX, if you're watching, thank you. And if you've seen that, well, please bear with me. It's probably going to be rather repetitive. So there is that. Oh boy. Well, you can see that we've definitely lost a lot of efficiency. Now there's a lot of hair stuck in this, which means the Cyclone's pretty ineffective in here. And as I said, this bin size is kind of weird. So you can see what I sucked up. And heck, we'll analyze what's there. Let's see what sucked up. So I did the whole house. Well, I did most of the house. I did the pickup test on the bare floor, did the rest of the house, and then finally I did the carpet pickup test because I think it's important. So there's a lot of hair there. I'm really impressed with that. So it does as advertised. Now, I'm not seeing too much of the fine dust right now, but I see a lot of the bigger stuff that we picked up. Oh, and that plopped off. And the way that these are put on here, these are really, really shallow. I mean, they're 1 or 2 millimeters. They're not what you would normally see. And then, as I predicted, there's a little bit of stuff under this gate, but not a whole lot. And then you can just see the stuff. So I'm going to clean this out, and we're going to see if we can get the efficiency back up of the machine. Well, we've cleaned this up. You can see the bin is fairly clean now. So I just cleaned it up with my central vac real quick, which, as you know, makes a ton more power. And we're going to put this guy back in. And again, I found it real useful to put some red marks on there, so I knew where to put this when loading this thing. So I found that this system was a little awkward to load. So let's see if we've gained any power back by doing that. Negative. Well, we just show you that was closed. We permanently lost efficiency due to, I'm not sure what. I thought as soon as we cleaned those filters in that bin that would go back up, but that's a pretty big deal that lost its efficiency permanently. Now, I guess the next step is I'm going to take this thing completely apart and dishwash the bin and check all the seals on the inside and everything as well, and see if I can't just find out where that's coming from. But that's going to be a Patreon exclusive result, and I'll post that to Patreon. Maybe I'll post a photo to Instagram if I find it. So definitely subscribe to our Instagrams. If you're not a Patreon supporter, go check that out. A couple dollars goes a long way, especially when we have to purchase our vacuums. So give this video a big thumbs up. And as always, go follow us on social media, Faceballs, Instagrams, whatever your favorite poison of choice is. We're now on Reddit as well. And stay tuned to the channel. Next month we are going to the VDTA, so there'll be tons of footage coming there as well. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. One other Easter egg is we have the Hoover logo on both sides of the vacuum. So this vacuum can be flipped to either side and you have a Hoover logo. As always, thanks for watching.